haven't done this in a while, but greetings to anyone listening this. Pardon me if I sound like shit. I'm using my phone as a microphone, but yeah, it's been quite a while. But welcome finally to another like episode of the Zephcast. I mean, we did have another recorded, but that kind of ended up becoming lost. But anyways, it's like
So consider this episode 2.
technically, yeah.
Essentially.
But okay, so yeah, 2019. It just came and gone, and there's just a particular thing that came around at the start of the year that ended up sticking around all throughout, and that would be
2019
well,
fucking sucking.
yeah, 2019 sucking. But as I was going to say, so to anyone that probably follows our Twitters, you'd probably noticed a certain moniker on our ads. That being a certain magical fuckery. Alright, Key, how did this came to be?
Okay, you see, the backstory behind this is all very simple. It started with a duck named Tippy.
Okay, now you're bullshitting.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely serious. I just one day showed up. Hey, hello there, people people, I'll call you people now. It's like, what if we all just watched Index? Everyone,
Yeah, it's like from what I remembered, it's like didn't you like end up becoming infatuated with a character, and then you came right up to Tibby being like, "Yo, I want to watch this show. Do you want to join me in this?"
And I answered, yeah. Because it's been years since I've
Yeah.
watched Index.
Yeah, and then I ended up getting roped in this since it's also been years since I've seen like the first season. I haven't really watched anything else beyond that, but so became a nice point for catching up. And the next thing you know, what started off as a simple watch group just ended up becoming another circle of with friends, with some good old bonding, and we just end up being pretty tight with each other, the stuff you probably don't expect.
mm-hmm. And
Essentially, the initial idea of the group is to watch Index, but then it turned into like more than that, and it became like the hanging place for us three.
yeah.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be real with you, Key. It's like I think prior to the year, it's like I think any like communication between us was like rather scarce. Because we weren't really all that close with each other at the time, and then
Ah.
that ended up changing surprisingly quick.
Oh yeah, it's like, that definitely changed, and it was a pretty good change, And,
Oh yeah, it's like it's a change I can greatly appreciate.
Yeah, same. And it's like, also it's like, it's like, what was I, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. I never, it's like, what? Fuck, okay, oh yeah, it's like, then after we all got together, a certain magical fuckery then spawned children.
Okay, that sounds so wrong out of context. What the fuck?
I need something people are gonna clip out of context.
That sounds so wrong still. You're implying something, and I hate it.
Well, anyways, we spawned a certain scientific savers, a certain magical
You might have butchered the name of that group. It's actually like a certain scientific believer because we were watching a show with Rio, and one of like the core tracks associated with the show we were watching was called a believer.
Oh yeah. And then it led to other watches like with that had Lunatic in them, Azzy in them.
Yeah, it's like Lunatic and Ash were with us during with watching Persona 3, I think. And let's see, I think Lunatic was also with us in like some other like watches.
And then I remember But okay, yeah, I was thinking about Soul Parade. That has nothing to do with the.
Soul Parade. I need to revive that. Like I've been trying to revive that, and yet it has not been working out. Like, come on. I know about the stuff that's gonna happen in later episodes. I have my reactions planned out.
I'm
now
actually
you know how
waiting,
I feel with plans.
and I'm waiting for Luxter to roast Blackstar.
Yes.
Blackstar even further.
Yes, I want to see Luxter destroy Blackstar. Luxter, if you're watching this, please help me revive Soul Parade.
Speaking of roasting, so remember back when we were watching Symphogear, we made it like episode 3 or 4, and because of a certain thing you said, we, like, me, Tippy, and Azzy, we all gave you, like, we were just fucking merciless.
Yes, I remember the incident. I don't need a reminder about that.
Yeah, I know. Key, you remember the incel incident.
If I was a mod, I would have kicked you right now.
Okay, so it got so bad that even one of our me and Ozzy know this person by the name of Yusha or Barty, and it got so bad that Barty even called that out, saying that it was gross because it wasn't the gross with the connotation, and Ozzy was like, nobody liked it, nobody Eve agreed, and we were just angry. We were just angry at the connotations, and it's like, I mean, for the record, it's like, yeah, an honest mistake, but we were still going to kick his butt.
In fact, that was a very common thing throughout the year.
Okay, at least this was funny.
Yes.
Some are not. They can go suck my vagina.
Yeah.
All right. It's like, okay, I think we're starting to get a little bit off track. We'll talk about Symphogear another time. Maybe on a third Zephcast if you give Keyblade money on his new Ko-fi account.
Okay, this is like a very shameless plug-in. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, Key, are you becoming an e-bagger now? Come on.
I'm just trying to promote my product. Anyways, I think it's time we actually start talking about the shows we watched.
Yeah, but just a heads up, we're not going to strictly talk about anime, because anything, it's like with TV anime anyways, because we've seen, like, plenty of stuff that are like, throughout, like, we've seen, like, you know, anime movies, we've seen, like, regular movies, have we seen regular television shows? I think we might have had.
We have seen some regular television shows, like some episodes.
Yeah, we watched the South Park, Futurama, the Tom and Jerry, that Tom and Jerry 80s show where they were friends.
A minute, you're talking
I'm
about the
blocking
movie?
that from my memory.
Like you know, the 80s show where Tom and Jerry were friends, and they were in a mansion, and they was.
Tomodachi.
Oh, and then there was the time Tom and Jerry represented waifu culture.
As if we needed another Nisekoi or ReZero.
You know, I'd rather just have more Rule 63 art of us rather than that.
I prefer not, because right now I'm being drawn as a Neko maid.
Just show the Nekomade drawing just for laughs.
Hey, it's like here's the thing, Key. You may look cute, but I look better.
I'm not even disagreeing with you on that.
And here I am, not having a gender bent version.
No, instead we're just chucking you at shit.
It's like Tippy. You tried drawing a gender bent version of yourself before, but it looked way too similar to how you usually draw your OC.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And besides, Tippy, you weren't gender bent. You were thrown at everything.
And I will say, fuck you.
It's like, with
Hey.
all due respect, Keith, try throwing Tippy again, I'm gonna go throw you at the Symphogear fan base.
Okay, so to give context, the reason why I was absent for an entire year was because he was holding me hostage and was shocking me and just treating me like garbage. But like in all seriousness, no, that didn't happen. It's just me being lazy and just not feeling well.
Oh yeah, like I have my own reasons for not really being all that active on YouTube. With certain inactivity, it's like laziness and procrastination is one factor, but there's also some of the tech I have being on a decline. Trying to balance out like priorities and resources with my life and like people. There's also depression kicking in at points, and that's been a bitch.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
moving on from that, it's just a joking matter where a grand majority of the time when I tend to appear is mostly around Keyblade's videos. So it's like I'm usually like the one that is up for cameoing, and I don't really mind it per se. It's just funny that I haven't made anything in this year. And I just make the joke of, it's just Keyblade held me hostage.
Alrighty. So how? Yeah, it's like I'm in full support of this headcanon. So, anyways, let's start off with the first show on our list with Nichijou.
Alright, I don't remember this show too well, so I think you two are gonna get more out of this conversation than I am.
Okay, it's like, with Nichijou, it's like, I could tell the animators were having a lot of fun with this show. Like,
oh yeah, it's like they were like having the time of their fucking lives with like every episode.
mm-hmm.
That's something I can agree with. And
Yes.
as someone who has watched it before, I'm just going to state the record straight with Nichijou. Like my first watch, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but with the rewatch with the certain magical fuckery, I kind of changed my opinion from not being a big fan of it and thinking it's kind of like a little bit overrated to, okay, I changed my mind.
Awesome.
And that's kind of like an interesting effect where I rewatched the show and just have fun with it. And it's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't think it's like, I mean, I thought this was good on its own right. I just didn't think it was like my favorite. But I consider it like top 3 Kill Anime shows for me.
Oh yes, Kira Anime. It's like, it was like, honestly, the show was like it was just a fusion of really out there, which, being a fan of like out there humor, it really appealed to my interest, along with just having a lot of wholesome characters, like Nano.
Oh yeah, Nana's great.
Now I'm starting to think Nichijou is just a Japanese SpongeBob.
I mean, to be honest, Nichijou tends to reference Japanese humor, so that's not too far off from the truth because the show does reference a lot of things relating to Japan, and I'll say this: sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't, because the overall reliance of Japanese humor can kill the interest for the Western side. But fortunately, Nichijou tends to work that out by making plot elements that are like stand out on their own without relying on Japanese humor, like referencing certain events or people or items as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can just watch it and just have fun with it.
Yes, and also the show is like just a slice of life, except amplified to like shonen level degrees. Like I remember like the first episode or one of the early episodes where it was just like Yuko was like eating her lunch and then like the sausage slipped out and she tried to get it, and the way it was all executed. It was just pretty much over the top insanity.
Oh yeah, because the sausage was falling off, and 3 seconds staying in where it even counted these 3 seconds counter, and it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Like, I sort of remember a scene where they're just trying to stack up like a house of cards, and that doesn't end up going too well. Though I guess the reason I remember it to this day was because you actually have like one of the characters like sleep under the table, and that since it kind of reminds me of a movie I've seen before, though, so I assume this might be like a custom thing. But so I don't know what else to say here.
Oh wait. Also, it's like Hakase is like wholesomeness incarnate. It's like Hakase is really good, and I like her.
I mean, to be fair, she's also like in the same house as the best character in the show, Sakamoto.
Oh yes, Sakamoto. It's like Sakamoto is amazing.
I also remember that the entire the scene between Nano and Hakase where they're like Nano Hakase.
I still remember. I still have that bricked into my brain with Hakase being like Nano.
Hakase.
Those will never escape my ears.
That never escaped from mine either.
That will never escape from mine either. But it's in the Hakase's like house/laboratory. It's like I remember one time where Hakase like ended up getting super hard glue all over the floor and got her, Sakamoto, and like Nano stuck.
It was hilarious, especially for Sakamoto.
Yes. Oh.
Didn't Sakamoto stick stuck completely? Like his whole body just got stuck with the glue?
I think.
Yeah.
That happened.
I feel so bad for him.
Sakamoto was like. Wait, you said the show was like a Japanese SpongeBob, so would that make Sakamoto Squidward?
Oh my god.
Sakamoto torture porn.
No! Key! I would kick you out right now just for planning the thought.
Okay, we're backing it up. And speaking of Nichijou,
we ain't tortured any cats in this household, motherfucker.
I own cats. Why would I want to torture them? Anyways,
let's,
it's like...
let's cancel Keyblade.
No, don't cancel me, please. I haven't even watched the dub of this series yet.
Okay,
Neko.
Here's the funny part: the dub got announced in the middle of the watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, at the end of the watch, the few weeks later, the dub was announced, and we were like, "Ah, shit."
Yeah, it's like
and also, at least from what I noticed of the dub, I guess I was expecting this to happen, but of course, Monica Rial would be playing Nano, and well, with quite a few dubs we've seen, Monica Rial has been a pretty notable voice actor featured in those dubs.
Mm-hmm. Like in Soul Parade as Tsubaki, and I still say she's the best character in Soul Eater.
And I know why, but we haven't gotten to that part yet.
And not to mention, she also had a pretty pivotal role in Dead Man Wonderland, if you remember that show, Key.
Yes, I remember that show and a certain character that will never be named.
Natsuki.
Wait, is Natsuki the flower girl?
Yes.
Shut the fuck up, Tippy. We never speak of her.
Here's the thing, Key. I just never heard your reaction related to that character. I just heard from Zephy that you hated her, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really, bitch?
Yes. Yes, really.
You're a pussy.
I am not a pussy, I'll let you know. I am a man with taste, and we should and overall, it's like Nichijou. We should all give our overall ratings on Nichijou before we move on.
Okay, before we give our ratings, can I just say something real quick?
Oh yes.
I like Kentucky. Hi, I'm Keyblade.
Tippy, no! I did not ask for you to do this. But
I'm in the Ninja Girls. I'm Keyblade.
No one's even gonna get the joke, Zeffy. Anyways, Nichijou. It's like, it gets a 9 out of 10 in my book. I look very forward to the day I get to watch the dub with someone. Not sure.
I'll give it a 9 myself.
Yeah, and Zeffy?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I gave it a 7 or an 8, but I think at the time I might have given it an 8.
Ah, awesome. Anywho, it's like, with that, let's talk about the first series as a whole. Digimon Tamers. Or the Digimon series. So,
I mean, we're gonna like focus mainly on Tamers here, but yeah, I was like wondering how you guys would feel about that show, and so when we got to there, it's like it was so satisfying getting through that.
Mm-hmm. Like, before watching Tamers, I was not really into Digimon all that much. Like, I knew it existed, just didn't know much about it. But after watching, like, Tamers, I definitely started to get into the series.
I think that's, like, a similar feeling to me, because here's the thing. Technically, this installment would be classified as a Digimon series, but considering the name, I guess some people wouldn't consider it, but Apply Monsters would be, like, part of the series, kind of.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, but I heard it was good.
Yeah, like, it was interesting. Although I did watch Fusion at the time, although I didn't like Fusion all that much.
It's like, okay, Cross Wars I like, but for the dub of it, Fusion, I outright refuse to watch it. It's like the one case where I usually draw the line with Digimon dubs. Before, usually the thing I don't like about these dubs, where, you know, it's music choices, because I feel like it takes away from the show a bit. But then you got, like, Fusion, where I actually don't like listening to the dub, like as a dub, and it also takes away from, like, some of the momentum build up in, like, the climax in the show, where you just swap out, like, this really awesome song with just some generic score with some exposition in the background.
I guess.
I guess. Also, I guess I know what dub of a show we're watching in the future.
Hell no.
Okay, now, anyways, it's like, with Tamers, it's like, the show is like, on first glance, it seems like a typical Digimon show, like, although it's like an anime, it would dive into dark themes soon, and oh boy, there were some dark themes here.
Like with Tamers, it starts relatively simple. It's like, though, instead of simply having a bunch of kids end up heading like into like another world that's like composed of ones and zeros, this time you actually have elements of that world coming into the real world right at the start, with these kids actually having, you know, Digimon like come to life and interact with them. That ties into like a trading card game like that was around for Digimon at the time, that ends up, so things end up getting a little bit meta at the start, but then as the show goes on, it gets surprisingly layered with when it comes to particular means, like when it comes to getting stronger and what that means for the characters and the particular bonding between the kids and their partner Digimon, and how these dynamics play out. And, you know, makes some, you know, meaningful stuff that to where, so by the time you actually do see these characters form together as like a team, it's like a lot more satisfying seeing them together, you know, when it came to, you know, every other Digimon show where it's kind of the norm for them to be grouped together.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and also when it comes to like the show, it's also like once like I'm gonna spoilers, like once Kurumon gets captured by one of the servants of a god Digimon into the Digi world and gets dragged back into the Digi world. It's like once Kulumon gets free from the cage, it's like Kulumon is pretty much has like it's just humor seeing Kulumon on screen, especially the one time where it's like Kulumon takes the flag and uses it as a cape to walk around in the desert.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, like Zephy, do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I remember Kulumon dicking around in the digital world where it just somehow it's ended up slipping up from its own captivity just by its own sense of curiosity with what it sees in front of them, and that's just precious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like Kulumon is just wholesome and just doesn't know much. But actually, once Kulumon got captured, that's where the plot kind of started, and it's kind of like compared to, let's say, I'm sorry if I'm dissing Adventure a little bit, but I'm going to kind of give a perspective towards Adventure in comparison to Tamers. It's like Adventure is not bad per se when it comes to like world building. It's just kind of like
it's pretty slow.
It's pretty slow. I'm not interested, and it's not really kicking me in. With Tamers, you like, kind of.
It has a much more accessible like pace with how events play out with a certain flow with episode to episode.
Mm-hmm. And it's like also like Impmon. My goodness, Impmon is like one of the most Impmon is like probably one of the most developed characters in the show, and he has a lot of respect from me, you know?
We won't talk much about it here, so we don't, spoil things for anyone who hasn't really quite watched Tamers yet, to which, what are you doing with your life? But it's like, you can, take Impmon as, a case in point on what precisely you could, do effectively with a redemption arc, and, guarantee results.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the time when Impmon was introduced. I think one of us did dislike them because of his attitude.
Yeah, I think that might have been key.
Okay, yeah, because it's like, at first it seemed like, oh, I'm an asshole Digimon who don't need no human.
And then it kind of turned into the opposite, where you actually like him.
Well, yeah, because I didn't know, I didn't know the complexity of how deep his character would go, you know?
Yeah, why can't you do that for Tsubasa?
Tippy, we'll talk about Symphogear another day.
It's like you're just way too easy to just jump right off the gate with some characters. Oh, you even like this with Toma and Digimon Sabers.
Okay, listen, we'll talk about that as well, and another time. It's just, right now, it's like, overall, it's like, I'd say Digimon Tamers is perhaps if you ever want to get into the Digimon series, I'd strongly recommend Tamers as a starting point. Although, heads up, that's in reference to the sub. Dubbed, I'm not so sure.
I mean, from what I heard, dub itself is, it's pretty good in its own right. Hell, you even have Steve Bloom playing the role of Guilmon, and he's one of the more unorthodox roles when it comes to the delivery. But Steve does a pretty good job as always. Although that being said, I doubt I'm gonna like the music choices going into Tamers dub.
All right.
I'm just going to say, as well, when it comes to Digimon Tamers, how to explain the later parts of the series without spoiling? Just imagine Ava, but less fuck, but still fucked.
Well, and also, not to mention, the director for Tamers, if I remember right, I think he was also involved with Serial Experiments Lane, which I gotta get back to that show at some point.
Oh yeah, Lane is very, very unsettling.
I don't know who Lane is, but it's like, it's like this, without going into this, it's like, also, it's like, there's also within in the series there's an organization made to like stop like Digimon entering the real world, and all I know is one of the people who work for the organization, like Reika, she is really hot.
Oh yeah, because like the moment you saw her in a swimsuit, you're just like, oh.
Well, I mean, yeah. But anywho, it's like, what would you say? Would you, Rick, say like this show is like a good starting point?
But it's a good starting point. I think yeah. It's like I'd still recommend people to give shows like Adventure or Sabers as a starting starting points as well. It's like with Adventure, if they can like stomach, how slow things can get and just try going things at their own pace, I'm sure they'd be pretty hooked on Adventure. To which that's going to end up coming conveniently because out of all the anime with Digimon's anime branch, it's like Team Adventure is easily the most milk out of it.
Mm-hmm. And now
it's like we got another show to follow after that, to which ironically, because of some creative differences between heads as the show was going on Adventure 2, that ended up leading to the director of Tamers having more freedom with that show with its own. To which after 02, we ended up getting the Tri movies, to it over a decade later, to which I'd still question what would even be the point of these movies, but I still need to watch them. But then after that, we end up next year. We're actually going to have another movie, that being Last Adventure, which I think is going to end up being the closing point for the Adventure characters. Which it looks really good. I think.
I mean, to be honest, the Last Adventure movie doesn't have anything to do with the Tri movies, so I guess that could be the actual conclusion than anything.
Yeah, and on a bright note, they actually acknowledged these 02 characters' existences this time.
Hooray! Hooray! Characters getting acknowledged, and it's anyways, it's also for the Tri movies, it's very simple why they were made. It's so people could say that Mimi is a Spanish word for female pissing.
Okay, expect TP to actually get mad at you then.
I will be acceptingly waiting in the comments.
If he actually watches the fucking podcast.
I just think that Tri was made more so out of fan service, but again, that's just me. That can easily change. But yeah, it's what rate? Back to Tamers. What rating would you guys give that show?
I give it a solid 8.
7 to 8.
I'd give it a 9.
Ah, awesome.
7 to 8 or 9. I think I need to check, but I'm not going to open my browser. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Anyways,
Before we move on to anything else, I need to firmly apologize to you two about the ear rape during watching Tamers.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that's perfectly fine. But what you should be apologizing is the idea to watch the Digimon Tamers movies.
Yeah, I did not like how that turned out.
Yeah.
We were bored.
Oh yeah. And it's let's start off with Digimon Tamers Battle for Adventurers.
I mean, there's some ideas I like about that movie. You have a pet that ends up dying, but ends up being reborn as a Digimon that's a protector for this one kid. You also have Takado's cousin, to which he actually does end up having a presence in the show, near the end of it. So it would be weird to see him at first, at least with watching the show. But I guess with his introduction in Battle of Adventurers, it would make more sense there. To which the stuff I like the tropical setting with when they're actually at an island. Since we got some beautiful visuals with the water and just the characters interacting there.
Oh yeah, it's the film in general is a bunch of has good ideas in them, like the setting and also Also, the animation was pretty solid. The problem is the fact that, okay, how do you describe this?
A lot of things were not executed well, and not to mention it was infuriating or frustrating.
Yes, that. Like legit. One part of them, like, Kulamon throughout this movie is the pinnacle of, like, frustrating, since he does nothing! Like,
I guess to be more precise, he does nothing in the sense where he doesn't add anything to the overall plot or anything that would be, oh, ha 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 ha, that's
it's like with the show, Kulamon like had a clear sense of importance there. I mean, since it has like the innate ability to support Digimon with like evolution, and because the the sovereigns and like their subordinates known as Deva, because they see Kulamon as a possible like key for unlocking the potential of evolution. That's mainly why they kidnapped Kulamon and brought him back to the digital world.
mm-hmm.
But for Battle of Adventurers, it's like none of that shit is there, and so you just have Kulamon just prancing around being cute because that's literally all he can do.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, like, Kulamon doesn't even have a word. He's just cute noises. Like, if I wanted to hear cute noises, I just start up a call with my girlfriend. By the way, I love you, Amy. and it's like, which I know from the series, Kulamon is not just someone who makes cute noises. Kulamon has like a personality. He talks. He's naive to the world around him. He's not just and
they basically turned him into the fucking Togepi in the Pokemon anime.
Zephy, that's an offense to all Togepis.
I don't care.
Okay, that's understandable.
Okay, here's the thing, Zephy, but Togepi is good.
Yeah, I know. Togepi is good. And It's also sad seeing it go after it evolved into a Togetic where you had to depart from Misty.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me feel heart-wrench.
Alright. And now, anywho, it's like, there's how the heroes take down the villain. Like, who wants to talk about that?
Okay, I'm gonna mention this because here's the thing. As an idea, I find Mephismon to be very interesting. We have this devil goat Digimon that spawns from the remains of Apocalypmon, to which, by the way, Apocalypmon is already very deadly in its own right, since we've seen Apocalypmon as like the final villain of Adventure 1. So it's like for a goat demon to come out of that and not even be at its final evolution stage, it's like directly below that. I think it's pretty cool. I feel like if we were to end up if there's ever a setting thrown for like another anime or a manga or a game where you have Mephismon being an antagonist there, I think you can do a lot more with the concept. And this thing can even evolve further into Golfmon, in which that thing is like, it's pretty freaky. Granted, it does kind of get one-upped by Grand Dracmon, but at the same time, it's like you see Golfmon around, and you're just like, I don't want to be anywhere near this thing. To which now I gotta ask. Okay, it doesn't really make any sense to me, at least with why the Tamers gang, at least at their level, it doesn't really make any sense to me as to why they can put up a decent fight against Mephismon or Golfmon. Because since they haven't even accessed their final stages themselves yet at the time, they know it's like so far they can only access like the penultimate stage, to which even then that really only happens like once in the whole movie. It just feels a little bit Deus Ex Machina-y just to end up defeating that guy.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, oh, yeah, Tippy.
Yeah, not to mention, like, the fight itself as a whole is just frustrating because of the end result. It's just not pleasant. I'll say that. It's just doesn't feel satisfying nor even not even entertaining. It just kind of, for me, it kind of took out frustration. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
It got so bad that I actually legit got angry for a few moments.
Yes, it was very... The anger was real. It's like, for me, it's just... I was just bored out of my skull. Like, come on, Tamers! You had me engaged for 51 episodes! How can you fuck it up during a movie?
It's like they had interesting ideas, but the execution was just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was just either it was mediocre, few moments were okay, or just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And it dragged out more than it should be because there was no necessity to drag that out.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to the other Tamers movie.
Oh
Yes.
God, I don't. Oh.
Like, okay, to give Runaway Locomon the benefit, at least a positive, at least the film overall was better than Battle of Adventurers. As in...
Although that's not saying much.
I mean, it's like, when it comes to stuff like animation, I probably, yeah. And also, it would make a lot more sense for, Takato and the gang actually beat the villain this time, since, they've actually gained access to their peak. But at the same time, this also would end up leaving a bit of a wrench, thrown just to take away a bit of the magic with how Tamers ended, because we had I know this might be a bit spoilery, but it's also inevitability. But we get this farewell, with the kids and their Digimon, and sure, it's also a hint that they could come back. To which, since that possibility is never truly gone, but to just see him casually around, during Runaway Locomon, it's just like, you're already ruining the magic. Why does this movie exist?
Simple. Because it gave us Dukemon Crimson.
Well, to be fair, Dukemon Crimson was already in the final couple episodes of Tamers. It's just that we can actually see its most ball-busting signature move, in action this time around in Runaway Locomon. The one where it just completely vaporizes, something into oblivion.
Yeah. And, and by the way, there's also Ruki's thing with her father, which I know Tippy had a lot of problems with.
Or at least with how it's, executed, because it's like, the idea itself, with expanding upon Ruki's background, I like it. But with how this came about, whether you just have this parasite thing just trying to exploit Ruki's mind and just have her turn against our heroes, I mean, it's kind of forced.
It was very forced. I just did not like it. I was actually infuriated. Very angry to the point where, okay, here's the thing that I'm going to say right now for those who know me. As you already know, I can get angry at a lot of things. But here's the difference. A lot of times when I get angry, it's just for exaggeration, or I use that as a way to cope by exaggerating and making fun of myself for getting angry and just make it a shit show for the convenience of everyone's entertainment. And here, nah, bitch, this is genuine anger to where not even that could work. Because in retaliation, I just got angry for a moment. It was longer than the previous movie. And I was just done with those movies. I was like, they were so terrible.
Yeah.
They were just bad.
Well, yeah. Overall, yeah, it's at least I could say this movie was better than, the last movie. Although it's overall the series is the best thing out of Tamers,
Mm-hmm.
Am I right,
Yep.
Seffi? All right. So,
I just suggest, like, for the first movie, unless you want to know, like, a certain character that gets shown later on, like, I think, okay, without going into spoiler territory, there's going to be at one point within, like, the last bit of the series for Tamers where the main character gets transferred to one of their family members' house, and in the movie, they introduce this exact same character, which is supposed to be the relative to this, to the main character, which, for the record, they gave him more screen time in the movie than in the TV series, which kind of provides more context to the character. But here's my other problem. The only reason you would watch the first movie is to get context for that character in order to get the idea of the character within the TV series, which is not a good idea to promote that, to connect the two. It's not a good idea, at least to me. Usually with movies that have extra material relating to certain characters that ties in kind of with the TV series, they have to have some form of merit. And here, they just serve as background characters for no reason and just kind of giving context as to who they are and nothing else. And that's what bugs me about these movies, especially for the first one, because it just doesn't have a lot, and in the end it just feels like a whole lot of nothing.
All right. And now let's move on from shit movies to an actually good Digimon movie.
Well, I mean, okay, we're gonna put movie in quotations here because this is like, you know, a 20 or 30-minute OVA, and this was technically the start of Digimon being animated because you end up having Digimon Adventure fully like build off of the idea, like, you know, sometime later. But yeah, the Digimon Adventure OVA, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's like the film was like pretty good, you know. It's like we gotta see like Taichi and like Taichi and Hikari like see a baby Agumon then growing into a big Agumon.
Yeah, it's like it starts with an egg, but you end up having that hatch as a Bodemon, where just have this adorable thing, just like, you know, just hangs around under the bed. Then evolves into a Koromon, where the kids mainly know that as Koromon, but then ends up growing another layer of skin, where it ends up evolving further into Agumon, where it looks like. So that's a pretty interesting way to convey like evolution for going into from Koromon to Agumon that we have not really seen before. But then of course you have Agumon going feral, just jumping around in the city. You got like Hikari like hanging on tight to him. But even though you got Agumon just blowing shit up and just breaking stuff, and then you got the arrival of like another Digimon like invading like Japan, that being like Parrotmon. Then you got like a fight ensues where you end up, finally we ended up getting, you know, Agumon becoming Greymon, and that's where it sets up like the one big fight in the whole like OVA. To which I'll admit, I think I like how the dub handled the fight a little bit more when it came to the voice direction for Greymon and the actual. Like, and even though this is something I get onto the dub's case before, but even like the dub with like the first OVA specifically handled music direction a lot better. At least going into that one final like attack where you have Greymon and Parrotmon vaporize like they just disappear afterwards. Mm-hmm. Which leads to my main problem with the OVA in its natural form. Just the repetition of the same song just showing up, even in moments where it shouldn't be, because it creates a tonal dissonance. Mm-hmm. Like when you expect shit, it's like you expect shit to get intense, like and also some triumph like over the course of the movie or OVA, but then you have the same cheery marching music just playing around on a loop, and you're just like,
It's just like, the city's getting blown to hell. Happy music is not helping us. It's sort of like having a sad emotional moment with a character crying and then playing happy music over it. Like, it just doesn't work.
Like, just imagine a happy moment and just add serious and epic music.
No, that would be like if you still had Hitting the Hay even playing even while Otis goes to see his dad Ben pass away.
Oh, that would have been fucking horrible.
We said that at the same time.
Yes, we do share the same brain cell. Anyways, it's like, yeah, the music got really annoying to the point where it's like, I think I made a joke saying, and okay, clearly we know what area the budget didn't go into. Eh?
Oh my god.
Yes. So it's like, overall, the first Digimon OVA, that was good. Digimon Tamers, great series. The movies, fuck you.
Okay, can I just mention one more thing about the OVA, since this is something that was not touched upon, because I like how they kind of introduced how Taichi and Hikari met Agumon, as we know, or actually like how me and Zephy know, because here's the fun fact: at one point, me, Zephy, and another person were watching Adventure. Unfortunately, that kind of flopped due to personal reasons, which I'm not going to get into. But basically, how they introduced Agumon to with Hikari and Daichi, it was very emotional.
Yeah, and also speaking of emotional, where when we reach the OVA's credits with with an early rendition of Butterfly playing, and you actually see Taichi hugging the head of Greymon. As a kid, growing up over the years where you're really into Digimon, for a while Greymon was my favorite Digimon, just because that had this really great design that's like a balance of cute and cool. And it just has all this. It just seems like it's pretty good to have around for an adventure. So to see that visual for the credits, it really tugs on my heart.
It was really emotional, but enough emotions. We don't need emotions. Let's have explosions. Broly time, baby.
Okay, I'll say this. As someone who doesn't even give a shit about Dragon Ball in general, because I'll be fair, and I think I'm gonna get killed for this, because I don't fucking care about the power balancing here, I don't care about the power balancing. I think it's kind of convoluted in its own right.
If I can say real quick, I've already seen this movie in theaters, another batch of friends of mine, and that was a really good time. So we ended up to watch that movie again with you two. It's it's a very pleasant experience, but we also got a bit of a blemish in between. That being where they decided to adapt Dragon Ball Minus along with having this movie, and I'm just please, I don't need more Minus. Please, no Minus. I don't like Minus for 3 reasons. One, all it really does end up doing is just try to have Goku draw even more parallels to Superman, which character a bit. And 2, it's just the whole thing just feels relatively bland. And 3, it ruined Bardock. Bardock was just this really cool character, in the special, to where it's he's ruthless, but he also has a sense of honor, for his people, and some camaraderie for his squad. and it's like you can like sense like the desperation when it comes to his like last act on trying to like oppose Frieza before his inevitable doom, only to find solace in the fact of learning that his son will one day end up bringing Frieza to his knees, even though he also knows his very son is going to break away from the norm of how Saiyans are raised. It's like ends up drawing some like some like parallels and like contrast with how the Saiyans are and with how Goku are, and how that comes into how Goku's interactions with the Saiyans and the first arc going into Dragon Ball Z, and things end up flowing pretty well. And on top of that, Akira Toriyama even sort of acknowledged the Bardock special, even with like the manga, because you can actually see the semblance of like Bardock as Frieza recollects a figure as he looks at Goku, and it's exactly like how it would be, back in that special. So for minus the backpedal on that, it's like I think you're just end up taking away something like pretty like meaningful if you're just gonna have things sugar coated and just have it just seem like Goku's parents were always these good people and they just wanted the best for him.
Mm-hmm. So basically, Superman.
To be fair, that particular scene was still emotional to me because I kind of liked the. I mean, to be honest, it was kind of bullshit. Considering it kind of felt a bit more. It kind of felt a bit too dramatic for its own good. However, at the same time, though, in the context of the film, I kind of feel like it did a good job on its own. Although I still feel like it was a bit dramatic in a way.
Yeah. Also, I just remembered, we also watched the Bardock special, so it's like...
Yeah, while the Funimation dub for that doesn't really hold up well, I still like the special.
It's like, it was alright for me. It's like, being the first time I watched the special, it might have not been, the dub might have not been the best way, but it's like, there were some moments I liked, especially with Bardock's, what's the word, like, claw that he used to soak up the blood of his team, team?
Where you got, like, his head, like you got, like, this cloth where it ends up being soaked in the blood of his comrades, where he ends up using, like, as a headband, like, to try to honor them and, fight in their name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was still cool. All things considered, aside from, like, that particular scene, I didn't have an issue with, like, it backpedaling the Bardock special. I have more of an issue of the scene itself being a little bit too overdramatic. Although I do have to admit that the final scene before, like, the ending of the background, was kind of neat in emphasizing the end of the planet. Like, I kind of felt like I liked that part. All aside from that, the movie is still, like, very good on its own.
Yeah, let's just talk about the movie itself now.
Okay. Basically, I'll say this: they gave Broly the best treatment in this movie.
Oh yeah, it's like they basically made him like an anime Tarzan, to where it's like the reason why he fights is kind of like before with like the main the Broly movie we've seen before, where his dad Paragus just ends up pushing him and control him fight for his own benefit. But with Broly himself, he's like a very conflicted individual. It's like
game over.